Time. The referee watches in purple. Say that again.
Very dark at the moment, yet warm welcome, albeit it's very cool is the temperature here at Cougar Park this afternoon for the second division fixture. This afternoon we welcome the visitors from Highfield. The teams for this afternoon: Keighley first, Wayne Race at fullback, John Walker. I beg your pardon, let's just get that. A dummy start there. Recording unit not having actuated initially, so we're just a couple of minutes into this game here. Highfield defending the hill or the slope, and the Cougars coming down it. Quick one or two changes in the Cougars side, and the most interesting one of course is that of not so much a change as a positional change, with Nick Pinkney taking over the standoff role, brought about by not only the injury to Darren Appleby at Halifax a couple of weeks ago, but also the knock on the knee that Keith Dixon took last week against Backley over at Mount Pleasant. So that's kick there from Highfield going direct into touch. We shall be seeing a scrum here some 30 metres out from the line. Ball in and out to Andy Ayres, on there to Pinkney. Pinkney running around with Milner, and certainly a belter of a pass out there from Nick Pinkney, going out like a rocket there to the centre on the far side. Nick Pinkney looking for, Greg Austin looking for his 200th try. And it's Jason Ramshaw this time, bringing on Carlton Farrell eventually via the hands of Andy Ayres. 10 metres inside the Highfield half of the field. Joe Grimmer wearing the number 8 shirt this afternoon in the absence of Brendan Hill. He's on the substitute bench, having again been part of the side that took a knock. A good kick down there, but well taken by fullback Chris Johnson under pressure. And Highfield then just looking to work the way out of that danger area as far as they're concerned. 10 metres from their own line, bursting up to the 20 metre line, and we'll be seeing hooker Tony Pemberton moving this ball away from that 20 metre line, and in fact managing to offload in the tackle. And the standoff there, Gary Forber being allowed to run. Gary Forber of course more accustomed to the second row position, and I suggest may well have been moved into that standoff position today to attempt to snuff out the availability and the chances that Nick Pinkney may create from that position. Good tackling there by Mark Milner, and a good kick up there downfield. John Basilou in possession, is facing 3 Highfield defenders, manages to just break into their territory before being brought to ground as Austin switches play infield, brings on Wayne Race. Mr. Whitlam, the referee from Hull this afternoon, just telling the Highfield players that he wants them back on side. Martin Wood puts a chip through. I think Mark Milner's offside there. He was just in front of the kicker. He just overrun Martin Wood there, I think, Darryl.
Yeah, good bit of referee in there. The referee was pointing at Mark, saying you're offside, give him 10. Mark kept on going, probably didn't hear him. Referee blew up straight away.
Certainly think one of the telling factors this afternoon is going to be the bitter cold wind that's blowing across the field for a change from behind our backs, but certainly those players down on the ground level, they're going to feel this temperature drop on the hands. The chill factor, according to the forecast, down to -5 or 6 even. Davy Brown there just taking that ball for Highfield in a standing position and having effectively to surrender himself to the tackle. Paul Littler, and the ball moving quickly across the line there for Highfield, and they've got the numbers over the far side at the moment, or they had before the knock-on occurred there by winger Andy Rippon. We'll see the scrum down there forming on that halfway line. It's Andy Hayes to feed. The referee, though, not satisfied that the scrum is set correctly. Just going to get them squared up a little bit, and that's even worse than it was before. And that really, unfortunately, is what makes the critics of rugby league scrums absolutely right in what they're saying. The referee pulled it up for an incorrect formation to start with, and then allowed it to wheel almost 90 degrees to the angle at which it should have been formed. Wayne Race then going on his own for Keighley from the acting half-back position. Tackled in possession though there by loose forward Sean Dolan. Moving out though for Keighley and Nick Pinkney. Looking and finding Martin Wood. The ball certainly moving very slickly through Pinkney's hands as Keighley gets the ball out there to Vasilou. A lovely pass out by Keighley to Vasilou. The winger just caught as he hit that 20-metre mark. Wood taking the ball in, puts the chip through for the chase. It's bounced nicely there and back to Martin Wood. Oh dear me. Martin Wood put the ball back out there expecting support, but I think in all honesty the entire support had followed him through with the ball and weren't lying deep behind him. But a good bust down the far side by him, bringing on John Vasilou initially to set up that move. And the Cougars can consider themselves just a little bit unfortunate because the ball handling was slick. But this is good for Highfield now as hooker Tony Pemberton breaks away 10 metres inside the Cougars half. On then to Chris Johnson, chip throw over the top there. Again the ball bouncing kindly for full-back Wayne Race, managing to take it, almost escaping the initial tackle of the Highfield centre David Wood. Mark Milner certainly taking round the top there. Loose forward Sean Dolan, the perpetrator, just apologising, I think is the right word. Martin Wood not finding touch. Well, he did in fact eventually find touch, but not the best of kicks. And a lovely run there by Ian Keighley. Once more this big prop, this big number 10 of Keighley should have a field day this afternoon. Although saying that the play of the ball wasn't of the best calibre as Ramshaw plays it this time. And again forward, just not getting their act together Keighley at the moment. The Carlton Farrell just overrunning Andy Hayes there, and the ball yes landing in the arms, but certainly not in the receiving position in a backward direction. Scrum down then 30 metres or just less than 30 from the Highfield line. It's scrum half Willie Johnson just having a bit of trouble there finding his feet. And loose forward Sean Dolan being equally put to ground by the Keighley defence. Still 20 metres from that Highfield line as they look to come forward up this field. Number 11 there, Trent Jordan, tackled in possession, ball moving out but being taken back, but pushed upfield by Sean Dolan. Wayne Race just allowing his feet to check the flow of that ball. Skips away from the first tackle, steps inside Willie Johnson, gets almost to the halfway line. The crowd warm to it as Ramshaw gets the ball onto Farrell. Carlton Farrell taking on the opposition inside the Highfield half now then as Ramshaw gets the ball out to Ayres, onto Nick Pinkney, Pinkney onto Wood. Martin Wood not really taking on the opposition there, and Pinkney again out then to Grimmer on the far side. Austin feeds Vasilou, the winger left in a difficult position there, but a nice hand through there by Greg Austin, and it's Ayres onto Woods. Woods again, Martin Wood. He's trying to draw the opposition defence, Daryl, but he just seems to be holding that ball too long and getting stitched up. Just see what Greg's got on offer here as John Walker gets down this touchline side, tackled inside that 20-metre line, but it's the last one I think. We've got a handover. Daryl, I think Martin just hanging onto the ball a little bit too long and he's tying everybody up with it, isn't he?
Well, possibly, John, but I think Highfield have noted Martin and every time he gets the ball, there's 3 Highfield players going for him. So I think if Keighley was a bit of nous, he'd think about the job and realise that if they miss Martin out now and again, the players will still be committed to go for him and probably leave gaps out wide.
Highfield then, this time it's the standoff, Gary Forber. Tackled midway between the 20 and the halfway line. On the far side for Highfield now, looking for the halfway line is Trent Jordan, but brought down just before he gets there by the combination of Martin Wood and Greg Austin. Willie Johnson, certainly one of the playmakers for Highfield, gets the ball away and keeps it alive. The centre number 4, Mick Carr, doing well there. He's getting up. It's the last tackle though, 25 metres out from the Keighley line, as the ball's going to go up by Chris Johnson this time for the chase. The wind's holding that ball. In fact, it goes off the body of Wayne Race over the dead ball line. Had he taken that, it would have been a tap restart on the 20, I'm sure. And in fact, Keighley already looking to make a substitution. Looks as though Mark Brook-Cowden going off and Brendan Hill coming on. Seems rather early for a substitution of that kind, Darrell.
Yeah, well, he had the physio to him, did Mark, earlier, and you can see his right sock's down. Probably got a knock on the leg, and just have a look at it, make sure he's okay.
Highfield then coming back up towards the Keighley 20-metre line. And certainly Mark Brook-Cowden has been carrying an injury of late. Hamstring problems, and maybe just it's a slight twinge on that hamstring that he's feeling. And safety being the password, the watchword at the moment. But Highfield now coming into this Keighley 10-metre area, but tackled into touch as they tried to get over that 10-metre area. Scrum down then on that 10-metre line. Andy Ayres, ball in hand, will feed this scrum, and we should be seeing the ball coming out on the Keighley side. And the pack having broken, number 12 I think is going to be penalised there, Scott Mudge, for being offside, having broken before the ball cleared the scrum. And so Martin Wood then, just to put hopefully this ball safely into touch, which he does. And it's Brendan Hill running at the defence. Oh, and where's the support on the inside? Totally and utterly missing. Not expecting the tackle being bust, and I think every time Brendan Hill gets the ball on the bust there, you've got to expect the tackle missing, being bust, I should say. And the support should be there to take the action on. Meantime, a superb break further downfield into Highfield territory there by Joe Grimmer. And now Keighley, and looked a bit forward there, but Greg Austin gets the ball eventually. But Highfield certainly aware to the abilities of this Australian centre player. Out there to John Basilou. He's got an easy run into the line. John Basilou puts the ball in the corner. That's the first points on the board for Keighley. A good swift handling movement there. John Basilou left completely unmarked on the far side. 15 minutes of this game gone. John Basilou gets the first points, Darrell.
Yeah, good try that. Jason Ramshaw realised that John had done what he should do, stay out on his wing, give himself plenty of room, and he did. Highfield came in, taking the man with the ball. A good pass and unopposed run to the line. Good try.
The man with a warm and gentle heart, but when they start the arguing and fighting, frightening and the lightning.
Well, certainly John can't complain about the position that the try was scored in there for the conversion attempt. He did the scoring, and he's now got the task of attempting to convert this try. It's, I have to say, into the teeth of quite a strong wind which is blowing directly across the field, and so he's really going to have to make a good judgment, and which he tried, but the wind still took the ball to the left hand side of the left upright. 4 points to 0 then.
We'd like to welcome today Highfield Middle Class 5L and Mrs. Halloran, this from Highfield. We'd like to welcome to Keighley from Highfield Middle Class, Mrs. Halloran.
Chris Johnson gets play back underway again, up to that corner of the field. John Vasilou initially carrying the ball low, then when the opposition came to him, secured it under the arm. And it's Carlton Farrell now taking play to these Highfield forwards. Another good run there, bringing on Ian Keighley this time. Keighley offloading again, offloading eventually, but it hits a Highfield player as the ball flew out of the Keighley standoff's hands, and so it's Highfield back in possession again. Willie Johnson getting the ball out there to Trent Jordan, just outside that 20-metre area. Paul Littler held on that 20-metre line. 2 tackles gone, says Mr. Whitlam, the referee from Hull this afternoon. And play taken some 15 metres now short of the Keighley line by the number 12, Scott Mudge. Long ball out there. Highfield has certainly got the numbers here if they opted to have taken it out to the wing, but they decided to take it back into the centre of their park and surrender in the slippy area. Chris Johnson doing the surrendering, but we're looking for a drop goal set up there for Sean Dolan, but not able to be taken. Taking far too much time over the chance. It's the last tackle coming up, and it's back now then for Chris Johnson. Oh, and certainly using the number 10 there, David Brown, to some use. John Vasilou looking for the gaps round the tacklers there, found the first one but brought down on the 20-metre line by the second tackler. Greg Austin again tackled on that same 20-metre line, just further infield, almost to the centre. Ramshaw gets the ball out to Keighley. Keighley bursts the first one. Nick Pinkney's in the clear. Pinkney's going. Nick Pinkney gets out there to Milner, but Milner's goal gets the ball knocked out of the hands as he attempts to be tackled. The ball not having been secured in Milner's hands, but certainly exciting stuff there between two of the known speedsters of Keighley. Mark Milner just not able to get away from the tackling of the Highfield defenders, and I think really, in fact, Darrell, those Highfield defenders did extremely well there to get back under the circumstances.
They did, John. That was very good defence from Highfield there. Keighley's got to do a little bit better now to start backing this defence down. Had it been in the last 10 minutes and Keighley winning comfortably, they'd have scored there, but Highfield still got the tails up. They know that they're holding Keighley, they're backing through. So, you know, we've got to put ourselves about a bit now, Keighley, and keep going and keep playing to the game plan.
A little bit of a knock on both there. Where's there? Willie Johnson doing the first one, and Andy Ayres not able to take advantage of it, so we'll be looking at a scrum down there, just inside the Keighley half of the field. Meantime, on this side, the centre Mick Carr of Highfield injured. Nick Pinkney looking to see the hole there, through the first one, but not able to get away from the tackling attempt there of Gary Forber. Doing a good job on Pinkney at the moment is this normal second row. Martin Wood gets the ball back out there to Andy Ayres. Ayres not able to keep his footing on the slippery ground. It's very, very slippy on top as Austin gets on to Keighley now. The big number 10 driving his way through this Highfield defence. Inside the Highfield 10 metres, Carlton Farrell almost dragged over the line as he's tackled over the top there by the Highfield defender. Jason Ramshaw surely tackled before he got near the ball by Highfield. Referee Whitelam agreeing with us, and so we're going to be looking at a Keighley penalty there, some 10 metres to the side of the post. Johnny Vasilou, I feel sure, will be called up as the referee indicates. The crowd behind the post, I think, wanting Keighley to run it, but certainly under the circumstances, Darrell, I think 2 points is security, isn't it?
Yes, it is, John. We've played 20 minutes. We're halfway through the first half, only winning 4-0 of a game that Keighley are expected to win comfortably. You've got to keep taking the points. You know, 2 points settles everybody down, gives them the time to have a breather, talk to each other, sort the game plan out, realise what they're doing wrong, and get it all back on the rails.
Johnny Vasilou then got this opportunity of putting the further 2 on the board for the Cougars. As I said, about 10 metres to the right-hand side of the right-hand upright, the wind blowing from his back as we look at it. Oh, and just taking a little bit too much allowance there, and I think he really knows it as well as John.
No real problems there, John. All right, it's 2 points gone, but it's taking the time out. The lads have had a natter, and Keighley get the ball back. Hopefully it comes straight back down into their line again.
Certainly not thought the best of things by the people behind the posts, but John making amends there. The ball going through Martin Wood's feet. He managed to keep the ball in from going into touch, and the touch judge on the far side, he's on the field. I think he's seen something that perhaps a Highfield player was doing in the tackle. We shall find out when we see which way the penalty goes. A punch going in according to Mr. Whitelam, and with a penalty going into touch by Martin Wood. Brendan Hill now taking the ball in straight into that group of Highfield defenders, and the crowd on the far side think they've seen something that the referee didn't see, who must have been at least 20 yards nearer than the nearest of them, as Carlton Farrell now takes the ball into that 20-metre line. Switch of play there, brings on Joe Grimmer. Grimmer taking on that Highfield defence, offloads. Gately doing extremely well to take that ball. Andy Ayres now, he's wrapped up there by Willie Johnson. Johnson looking for the ball being offloaded round the back of his own players. Martin Wood now. Keighley have got the numbers. Mark Milner looking for the hole there, but wrapped up by this Highfield defence. Joe Grimmergrain now diving in, but the ball thrown almost anywhere, but I think Andy Ayres looked to have regathered it, but Carlton Farrell knocked it on, and in the end result was that Highfield regathered. Play then some 30 metres from the line of Highfield as they look to come back up this Cougar Park slope. And again Highfield running for the holes, get the ball away. In fact, eventually managing to drop on the ball, not the person intended for it that dropped on it. And it's Sean Dolan, the loose forward, doing the kick forward. Not the best of kicks. I think he was searching for touch. Johnny Walker, the strong winger of Keighley, looking for an opportunity to warm himself up by searching for work in the centre as Ayres gets onto Hill. Hill bouncing off that first tackle there made by Paul Littler. Ayres again now onto Pinckney. Oh, well taken there by Mark Milner. It wasn't a good pass by Nick Pinckney. Well taken by Mark Milner. He must have super glue on those hands, because certainly under the conditions anything was going to bounce off it. Pinckney then just pushing that ball into touch on the 20-metre line. Referee just stopping play, pulling a Highfield player out. I think he's seen something earlier, but 25 minutes on the board, playing down this slope, Daddle. Keighley only 4 points on the board. I think we would have expected a few more by now, but this Highfield side certainly playing with plenty of spirit, aren't they?
They certainly are, John. Like we said, you know, they're throwing the ball about well, and they're tackling exceptionally well, and they're not in the danger players, the people who are offloading, and that's what they try to do. They try to close down the people who are offloading to the runners. So it's a good game plan from Highfield's point of view at the moment.
Yes, they're certainly doing the job as far as they're concerned, and the Arctic Mike Pears, the coach of Highfield, obviously certainly studied the Keighley side. Play then some 30 metres from the Highfield line as they come up this hill. Loose forward Sean Dolan. Tackle 10 metres from the halfway line. And it's moving out the far side. Standoff Gary Forber. Tackled in possession, still short of that halfway line as the ball moves across the field now. Searching for the hole in this Keighley defence. And again managing to offload, but did it go back? Yes, says the referee. It's Willie Johnson still in possession. Turned over like a Catherine wheel there by Martin Wood. And the ball goes back for the kick from Willie Johnson to Chris Johnson. just bouncing inside the touchline edge. So we've got a scrum forming some 25 metres from the Cougars line. Referee just telling the two sides how he expects this scrum to form. It's out to Keighley. Wayne Race coming into the line, but well wrapped up once more there by the fullback of Highfield, who's continuously in the line. He's not in a sweeping or a bobby position at all. Dropping back now as he does into his natural position of fullback. But certainly, as Highfield are lining up behind the scrum when it's Keighley's feed, he's very much involved in that defensive line. Carlton Farrell almost to the halfway line. Jason Ramshaw just looking for the supporting player. He wasn't there. Joe Grimmer eventually receives it. Jason just having a quick word with some of his colleagues as the ball not going, or the support player not being where it should be. That ball just looking to see where it went, not quite making the touchline, and equally so a good kick from Keighley's point of view, not actually going to touching goal. Mark Milner doing a good tackling job there on the centre, Mick Carr, and it's standoff. Gary Forber caught in possession on his own 10, but a good run out there from defence by the Highfield player. And well, occasionally these referees do decide from time to time to penalise for holding down. I've seen a lot worse than that go unchecked completely, but Mr. Whitlam's the man with the whistle and decided that that was holding down by Brendan Hill. Look at Tony Pemberton, then gets play back underway for Highfield. David Brown losing that ball, and really Mr. Whitlam perhaps being a little bit over generous there, I think, with the advantage. Daryl, it was nowhere that I don't think Keighley were going to get any fair advantage with the Highfield players chasing there.
I don't know, John. Wayne Race picked it up and made 20 yards. He'd let play go. So, you know, you've got to give the referee credit for that. He let the play go as long as he could, knowing in the back of his mind that if Keighley didn't finish up with the ball at the end of the day, making good advantage, then they'd come back for the scrum, which is what he did.
Wayne Race struggling away then after a very untidy play of the ball, eventually getting some 15 metres inside the opposition's territory. Joe Grimmer now taking play on, and again the ball being lost, being thrown away there. I'm not sure whether it was thrown away badly or whether in fact it was the lack of support play, but certainly I think the support play from Keighley, certainly around the play of the ball area so far in this game, Daryl, has been pretty poor, hasn't it?
Yeah, they're backing up a bit sharpish, John. They were getting too close to him and overrunning, like you said earlier on. You know, when the man gets the gap, gets halfway through the gap, then he's held up, the players have run past and they're still offloading, so we're not talking.
Highfield then coming back, making ground into the territory of Keighley, right on 30 minutes of this second division game. There's only 4 points the difference. They're in favour of Keighley at the moment from that John Vasilou try. And it's the last tackle coming up as the ball goes out to the loose forward for the kick and chase through. That ball should go dead. In fact, John Walker just helping it dead there, not obviously sure as to where the players behind him were. So we'll have a drop out from underneath those Keighley posts. Safety being the paramount thing there in John's mind, making sure that ball did go out of play. Difficult to see from this angle just quite how close to that dead ball line it was. Mick Carr eventually getting that ball as it bounced around just inside the Keighley half. Gets 15 metres inside there. Chris Johnson tackled by Milner. Tony Pemberton gets the ball away there to Sean Dolan and bringing on the number 11 Trent Jordan, but This is Pemberton, and there's a hand forward by the number 11 Trent Jordan, and the referee says that's where the count back will start. This tackle is the first one in the next set of 6. Jason Ramshaw moving the ball out then to Keighley. Keighley onto Wood. Wood looks for the support inside. He gets it out to Austin. Austin still struggling, still going. Eventually brought down 5 metres from the halfway line as Keighley get themselves back into gear again. Nick Pinkney not able to offload there. He was good spoiling play, I think is the right term by from Highfield's point of view. They're certainly stitching up this Keighley attack very, very quickly. Joe Grimmer gets the ball out there to Ayres. Ayres must surely outrun the fullback as he goes to the corner. He does, and certainly that's a try that Keighley have been wanting, Darrell. The fans have been getting very frustrated about the lack of movement, the lack of support, and certainly that one hopefully will wake them up.
Yes, John, I think in all honesty there's probably been a little bit of complacency in the Keighley way they've been playing. They realise that they should win and they're going to win, but I think they all expect to score every time they get the ball. But there Andy realised he had a gap and he saw it, outrun the fullback. Good try at the end, but they've got to start applying themselves now of Keighley. Start thinking about what they're doing and realise, treat Highfield with some respect. They're not going to roll over and die. You know, they've got to play these, they've got to beat these sides. They've got to make sure that they're beaten by football, beaten by playing, throwing the ball about and backing each other up, which is what they haven't been doing at the moment.
.33 minutes then of the first half gone. John Vasilou with a conversion attempt from almost identical spot to that of his own try, and we'll just see what he can manage to do with this one. Well, the crowd the crowd over there certainly liked it in the stand. The ones on the fence on the terracing at the bottom end weren't quite sure, but the touch judges indicated that it was good. 10 points. 10 points to 0. Keighley lead. Carlton Farrell left the field, and I would imagine, I haven't seen yet the substitute that came on. Phil Stevenson, in fact, already on the field, up there in the area where the ball is. In fact, he's now got the ball, got the job of driving downfield, trying to take play back into the
2,836.
Taking the play back towards the 30-metre line. Brendan Hill striding through again, taking players with him as he goes. Looks as though there might have been a knock received by one of the Highfield players there. Ayres then getting the ball out to Milner. Milner gets the ball back to Pinkney. Pinkney out then to Keighley. Keighley on to Brendan Hill, and certainly no way was Brendan Hill expecting that one, and certainly doing extremely well to hang on to that ball as he was brought to ground just inside his own half and on the last tackle. Well, the crowd expressing a bit of dismay about that, but there was no way that Jason Ramshaw could have got out a better pass than he did. Johnny Vasilou going to be penalised there for being offside. Obviously in front of the kicker when the ball went downtown. So Highfield then, they've got the penalty. They're just on the 20-metre mark from their own try line. And that one not finding touch. Keighley now with Keighley on then to Phil Stevenson. Stevenson running at the defence. Almost had, well, Nick Pinkney certainly just overrun him there. And it's Ayres now, onto Ramshaw. Ramshaw throws a long ball out. Was it forward? Mr. Wakelam says it was. And it certainly looked it from here. But certainly there was opportunities. Had that ball not been forward, there was an opportunity there for Keighley to have added to the total. As it is, it's a scrum on the 30-metre mark. Highfield coming away, there's a hole in the defence there, but it closed down quickly. In fact, as the full-back, I think, Chris Johnson, yes indeed, decided to step back towards the Keighley defence. Gary Forber tackling possession, but it's Highfield still coming forward up this Keighley Park slope. Littler now taking play on, but 10 metres inside the Keighley half now as he's tackled. Martin Wood doing the tackling with the assistance of Brendan Hill. Ball flicked back inside there by loose forward Sean Dolan, and still it's Highfield coming forward. Willie Johnson trying to get them going, but 5 tackles expired just 30 metres from the Cougars line. Pemberton gets the ball out there to Chris Johnson. John Walker takes it on the first bounce, chases across the field. 3 Highfield players doing the chasing there, and Walker pushed down to ground 2 or 3 times. And I suggest, fortunately for him, because the Keighley defence had not got back there to take that ball from acting half. And Wainwright's doing some good clearing run there, a good clearing run. Joe Grimmer again taking the ball in, bouncing off those tacklers, gets the ball out there to Ayers, John Vasilou on the wing there, just a slight hesitation, and in fact a knock on observed there by referee Whitelam, 10 metres inside the Highfield half of the field. 8 points to 0 the scoreline reading, almost up to the end of the first period.
Half time, if you keep off the pitch, please. Keep off the pitch at half time, thank you.
Couple of minutes from half time. There's a good push there from Keighley, not managing to get the ball though, and it's Highfield breaking away from the scrum. On the halfway line now then as play restarts. Highfield once more in possession, offloading well there, number 3 David Wood, getting the ball out to his fellow centre there, Mick Carr, and inside through the hands of Chris Johnson. Loose forward Sean Dolan getting a good ball across there. In fact the wingman almost got an opening there, in fact still going forward, well tackled there. Andy Rippon almost finding his way to the line. And it's the loose forward for Highfield again, setting things up. That looked slightly forwarded, that pass, but Mr. Whitlam not of the same opinion, just indicating this is the last one for Highfield. Chris Johnson, he's got the ball, he's going to push it forward. It hits a Keighley boot on the way through. The referee, somewhat unkindly I thought, White waved it back, but shake of the head says it was a deliberate attempt by Keighley to play that ball by the boot. So we've got 4 more tackles to go inside the Keighley 10 metre line area, and this is the time when Keighley do not want to concede points. Highfield certainly have been on the ascendancy all through the game, and what have I said?
And trying out for Highfield by number 2.
Andy Rippon scoring for Highfield, and I think, Darrell, we've got to say this, we've got to give the Highfield lads some credit. They've come at Keighley right through this first half, they've stuck to the task, they've tackled well, they've covered Keighley well, and they're certainly not, Keighley have certainly not really treated them with any real respect, I don't think.
No, John, I think had it been a top class side here, Halifax or something like that, Keighley would play a lot better than they are doing. At the moment they just seem to be dawdling along in second or even third gear. You know, they're not applying themselves to the game, they're not talking to each other like they normally do. We can hear the players up here, we're not hearing them today. They've got to sort themselves out and start taking this Highfield side apart by football and talking and knowing what each player's doing. The coaches will certainly have a lot to say at half time about this.
Yeah, just going to say that, Darrell. 40 minutes on the clock now, it's 10 points to 4, and I think the short trip that Keighley have got to make to that dressing room tunnel will be emphasised, or the talking in the dressing rooms will be emphasised now by the talking that's going to go in the dressing rooms. It's a long time since I've heard the crowd as quiet here at Keighley, and my words, the noise in the dressing room I feel sure is going to resound in those players' ears during the break.
We'd
Two tries for Keighley in the first half then, John Basilou and Andy Ayres. One conversion by Andy Ayres, and the try coming for Andy Rippon, converted by Chris Johnson just a moment ago, giving the second half. Just remember the scoreline, 10 points to 6 in favour of Keighley. It's Highfield kicking off to our right. Mr. Whitelam gets the play underway, and down there to Martin Wood. Martin bringing on Mark Milner, and I think there may be one or two ears ringing a little bit from the half-time team talk. We shall see whether the ringing in the ears brings any response from the players on the field. Well, that again, I think perhaps Brendan Hill may well just have been lucky to have got away with that. It was looked a bit forward, but certainly did a good job in recovering the ball. Good burst upfield there by substitute Phil Stevenson. Ramshaw gets the ball into Ayres. Ayres on to Martin Wood. Are we going to see something here from Martin Wood? Steps the players. Oh, dearie me. Brendan Hill was miles in front of the play. There's no way he was going to get that ball. He was far too far in front. But what good backing up there by Brendan, and a little bit more there, I think, from Martin may well have brought the try if he'd have taken play, continued out towards that touchline side. As it is, Highfield off the hook, and they're coming back down the field now. Certainly loose forward Sean Dolan, fullback Chris Johnson and brother Willie Johnson having tremendous say in the way in which the Highfield play has been continued and conducted in the first half. See how it goes on in the second half. Here we go with a kick. All on, says the referee. Obviously adjusting the Keighley hand, must have touched that ball as it went through. Wainwright shrugging his way through those tacklers, working his way back to the 30-metre line as Milner goes on his own from acting half, skips through the first tackles, almost through the second one. Andy Ayres tackled just inside the Highfield half of the field, and it's Brendan Hill driving upfield now, 30 metres out from the line. Ramshaw acting half, back onto Ayres, Ayres onto Wood. Wood taking on the defence again, offloads again, but Mark Milner having been able on that occasion to go back, and it's a kick high in the air, but it's as far forward as it was backward. Andy Ayres takes the ball, but is it going to be the last tackle? It was, but in fact it was knocked back by Highfield and regathered by Keighley as the ball went loose. I think probably Keighley can consider themselves fortunate there.
Yeah, Keighley looked to pinch it there in the tackle. I'd definitely give the penalty there. Mr. Whitlam says not. He said play on. I think he missed it. He's given a penalty to Keighley now. Quick play by Jason.
Brendan Hill then taking the ball in, offloading as he does. Ramshaw moves the ball out to Wood. Wood moves it out there to Pinkney. Pinkney onto the fullback Wainwright. He's in at the corner for Keighley. And my word, Darrell, that is better. Much, much better.
Yeah, they're playing football now, John. The team's been changed down a bit. John Basilou's off. Martin Milner's gone on the wing. Nick Pinkney's back to centre. And Martin's playing at standoff, doing the distribution from standoff. It looks like it's working. Let's see. We've only been playing a couple of minutes this half. Let's keep playing football, lads.
One prize, one goal, and that. All night, and we raise, come and try.
Johnny Walker then, he's taken over kicking duties as John Basilou takes a spell on the bench. And again that try in the far distant side of the field, in the wilderness I suppose it may be called, and into the wind as well, and in the darkness. Well, the ball managing to go 4 or 5 yards forward across the field to halfway.
Happy birthday to Tony Lamb on Thursday. Happy birthday, Tony.
But Johnny Walker's attempted conversion,
Happy birthday. Dean
I'm sure
Cotton,
not the
15
best,
on
but
Tuesday.
remember he
Happy
did
birthday
kick a good
Gareth
one last
Allen.
week
Christine McAndrew is
after a
41,
couple of
last year, that. Christine
misfires to
McAndrew,
start
41
with.
from her son Robin.
Chris
All the best,
Johnson
Christine.
then ready to restart for Highfield on the halfway line. Again the deep kick to the bottom corner. Martin Wood on the end of it. Stevenson coming upfield. And it's Mark Milner this time, bursting through the tackles as he goes, 10 metres from the halfway line. Brendan Hill this time, bursting through, taking the Highfield players with him as he breaks that halfway whitewash. Ramshaw acting half, onto Grimmer, Grimmer coming forward, leading, dipping the shoulder as he goes, offloads to Ramshaw, onto Keighley, brings on Andy Ayres, finds Martin Wood, long ball out to Mark Milner on that far wing. Wayne Race, by fortune I think there, Joe Grimmer exerting the players as to what should be doing. I think we're looking for the chase, are we? No. Martin Wood though finding big Brendan. Brendan's got Ramshaw with him, gets ball out to Ramshaw, but he's tackled in possession by Andy Rippon, who the referee says was in an offside position. He said he hadn't made the 10 back from the previous tackle before the ball, in fact. But Joe Grimmer now out there to Phil Stevenson. Phil Stevenson in at the corner. A good offload under tremendous pressure there by Joe Grimmer. And really keeping the game alive now, Dal. The ball is being kept alive and the players supporting are in the right positions, not overrunning.
Yeah, I don't know what was said at half time, John, but it seems to have the effect. They're now thinking about what they're doing. They're still throwing the odd wild pass, but they are thinking, they are backing up, and it's giving the rewards that it deserves.
Well, again, Johnny Walker got the task from out wide. We seem to be saying that so much this season. Not helping the goal kicker scores, the try scorers, but the bottom line is the try's worth 4 points. Your conversion is the bonus.
Can they try?
John Walker then just settles himself. Well, it's certainly got better direction than the previous one, but certainly not enough length. The scoreline though nonetheless looking somewhat healthier now at 18 points to 6. Highfield just making a substitution. David Brown.
Substitution for Highfield.
David Brown coming off.
And Mr. Grumpy thanks Yvonne for the first year of marriage, a wonderful first year of marriage. Go on, Mr. Grumpy. All the best to Yvonne.
Substitution then for Highfield as the short kick taken, and well taken in fact by the winger Andy Rippon. Ian Potter the man on for Highfield as the ball going across field there into the second row's hands, and good driving back there, brilliant driving back there by combination Phil Stevenson and Brendan Hill, taking Highfield back into their own half of the field. Potter driving the ball in and again being driven back into his own half. Good pressure there by Keighley, Carlton Farrell, Jason Ramshaw this time attacking almost like hitting the tackle bags on practice night there. David Wood attempting to get away, but again not able to. Brendan Hill and Carlton Farrell once more doing the tackling, and it's Highfield looking to spread the ball, but dying in possession was Paul Littler just inside the Keighley half as the last tackle comes up. Johnson gonna kick the ball downtown. The referee just telling the players there to give the 10. He wipes it off as Wayne Race gets almost back to that 20 metre mark. Mark Milner stepping away from the tacklers. Not able to get away from the third attempt though, as he gets 25 out from his own line. Ramshaw gets the ball out to Keighley. Keighley out to Austin. A lovely pair of hands out to Walker. Johnny Walker's going at the touchline. I don't think anybody's going to stop him unless he runs into trouble. He hasn't done. It's a ramp under the post for John Walker. A brilliant break up the touchline side. But my words, he really had to work hard to get through those final tackles, didn't he, Darrell?
Yes, he did. John Greg Austin did a good foil, and I thought they were going to feed Greg and get his 200th, but no, he kept on going, chugging the tackles. Good try in the end. Can't fault them.
And that's the sort of try that really brings the crowd to the feet and warms the cockles of the heart. Cold atmosphere here today at Cougar Park, and how that sort of brings everybody to the senses and wakens them up. A burst up the wing there from Johnny Walker, the likes that we haven't seen, at least in this game, that's for sure. Just on 10 minutes into this second half then, Keighley already logged the third try of the half as Johnny Walker looks to convert his own. And my words, that's a much better position to do it from. Through the middle, no question about that one at all. That moves the scoreline well clear now. 24-6. Referee then rejoins the rest in the middle of the park as Johnson restarts once more. Martin Wood again gets the ball away, almost back to the 20-metre line. Mark Milner looking for the hole, searching the elusive stepping movements, initially causing a little bit of a problem to the Highfield players, but eventually the player going down and, well, the ball being spilled, I think, there. Oh, not the best of pass there. Certainly he won't be thanking his colleague for that pass, won't Phil Stevenson. Joe Grimmer driving up through the centre of the park, getting to the 20-metre line before being tackled. Ramshaw switches play then onto Wood. Wood goes for the hole, he's got the support outside, he's got Nick Pinkney outside him if he gives it. Oh, dearie me, that's got to be the worst option that Martin Wood could possibly have taken. Surely the ball should have gone out to Nick Pinkney, Darrell.
Yes, it should, John. I thought Nick might have come inside him at one stage, but once he stayed out, Martin should have found him.
Highfield way off the hook there, way off the hook. And Keighley punished again there for being punished after having punished themselves for not scoring, being punished for being offside at the play of the ball.
By the petrol station, we'll stop throwing coins. If you get caught, you'll be out and you'll never come back in here again. So stop it off. Let's have a right family atmosphere. And don't be such mindless morons. So that right in your head, or you're out, and you're out for good.
Don't know whether you heard that from the tannoy, but certainly how much we agree with what was said there. The throwing of things like coins from the crowd is not to be condoned and must not be condoned. Mindless idiots that do it. Highfield driving the ball downfield and upended in the tackle there. Looked as though it might have been Ian Potter, as Highfield now try to get themselves back into an organised line. 30 metres out from the Keighley line as the hooker Pemberton goes forward. The ball hitting the Keighley player there. I don't think he went for it. The referee's certainly not wiped the slate clean, as Pemberton once more going on. Gets the hands out through Dolan onto the far side of the field. Almost had numbers there, but it looks as though Nick Pinkney's going to be penalised for one round the head. And in fact, Highfield taking the very quick tap there, trying to catch Keighley unawares. And Chris Johnson running into his own players as Willie Johnson there tries to get underneath the tackling arms of the Keighley defenders. And it's on then, as a switch looked to be on there from Dolan, but shut down before it could even get there. Number 11 then, Trent Jordan, coming down for Highfield into the Keighley 10 metre area. And Pemberton was waiting there for the ball to be played, but it looks as though Jordan injured in the tackle.
Sunwell Holidays to Lanzarote is Mr. D. Walton of 17 Cromer Avenue, Ingrow. That's Mr. D. Walton will be going to Lanzarote, this month's winner of the partnership draw. Congratulations.
And certainly the player not having moved too much since he was tackled. Receiving attention, Mr. Whitlam there, very concerned about him, obviously far too close to the Keighley line to allow him to allow play to continue. In fact, I think a stretcher call for him, not too sure, it looks as though it was. Yes, Mr. Whitlam indicating the stretcher is required.
There's a message now here for live membership for all Keighley fans, that's you fans out there. If you would like your own bar, a live membership would include free admission to all league games, including a stand seat for life, a private bar, and there's only going to be about 40 or 50 people in that bar, that's the one under here, for live members only, a buffet after all games, a photo in the live membership gallery, and there's invited to all team celebration parties. Any person who purchases this membership can bequeath this over the age of 55 on the 1st of January, and you can give it to anyone you like. Priority tickets you get, and the cost is £2,500, and you can get it on easy payments as well. So there you are. There's only going to be launched for 40 fans, and it would help the club, and it would also give you top priority. Have a marvellous time. So get thinking about it. Your own life membership, your own bar, and all the business.
Again, a very sad sight to see. We last witnessed this at Thrumhall, Halifax, when it was Darren Appleby going onto that stretcher. This time, unfortunately, a Highfield lad being taken off. Highfield then will restart in a moment or two, just as soon as the referee is happy that that injured player is away from the area, which may cause any problems to either those left on the field or him going off. And it's about 3 or 4 metres from the Keighley line. Pemberton then gets play back underway, moving out there to Chris Johnson. Johnson tackled on that 10 metre line. The last tackle, Mr. Whitlam not forgetting the numbers in the roll as Carlton Farrell picks up that loose ball, gets away, gives it out to Austin. Austin's going, he's going for his 200. He's going to score his 200th try of his career from that spill ball inside the Keighley 20 metre line, and that's a brilliant way to finish off the 200 in 210 appearances. And there was no question, was there, Darrell? I think possibly he might even consider that's one of the easiest he's scored of the 200.
Probably is, John, yeah. Once Carlton made the gap, put the ball over, Greg took the ball, he don't need to outpace him, which he always had pace to spare there. Nice try, beautiful try, the spectators like them. Good football, that.
Good try, well done, Greg Austin.
John Walker, the task then, once more. Something like a dozen metres or so in from this touchline side. No, it's going across the face. Is that one not making the line? 28 points to 6 the scoreline reads then. And we've got something like almost 20 minutes of the second half gone. Halfway through. Second half on the hour mark. Call it what you will. Six tries, 2 conversions. That's the Keighley tally so far. Every try scored by a different person. Inside that Keighley 20 metre area then, as the temperature really starts to drop here now, the wind increases and the chill factor increases with it. Keighley coming up. Tackle there by 13 and 14, Sean Dolan and David Barnett. David Barnett on for the injured player, but just a knock on notice there by the referee, losing Keighley the advantage, and the scrum will form a good 10 metres inside the Keighley half as Johnson has to forage in the back there. Keighley doing a lot of pushing there, gaining the ball eventually. Looks like Carlton Farrell with it. Andy Ayres gets the ball with the attack now. We've got the opening. Wayne Race strides away from the first one, brings the play back inside, but good covering across there by the Highfield defence. Number 12 Scott Mudge getting away from the back of that scrum as Phil Stevenson now drives the ball in up towards that Highfield 20 metre. Mark Milner having to rush in there for the dummy half position. There wasn't anybody there as Jason Ramshaw skips his way through through his own players towards the Highfield defensive line, just inside the 20 metre line. Martin Wood pushing the players away as he goes. Andy Ayres onto Brendan Hill. Brendan Hill gets the burst. Andy bursts again. Andy scores. Brendan Hill scores for Keighley. He leaves the Highfield tacklers in array. Complete disarray there. No way that Chris Johnson, the fullback, was going to stop him. But again, determined run through there by Brendan Hill, and good quick hands across as well, Darryl, wasn't it?
Yes, John, from the play of the ball, Keighley were half asleep there, but they waked themselves up and realised that the gaps were out wide. Good handling, Brendan started knocking a few over.
John Walker then looks to convert this one. Certainly giving it plenty of thought and concentration.
Nope.
Oh, and that one's gone wide again. Certainly Johnny Sainso left his kicking boots back in the dressing rooms. The conversions are getting ever closer. Unfortunately, the goal kicks not managing to hit the gap between the uprights.
Well, the match sponsors today is Withering Nights Inn and Roger Ellison Farm Relief Services. Withering Nights, great place for a meal and a pint. Keep the window centre, push the windows in after you've had a fight, after you've had a pint.
Mark Milner then running across the face, still running across, he's looking for support. In fact, the support was there with him, but he wasn't in a position to offload as Carlton Farrell tackled there as the loose forward Sean Dolan up, and Joe Grimmer now takes the ball on the bump, gets it out there, but Greg Austin not able to take it. The referee judging that was a knock-on. I've got to say, Darryl, was that a knock-on? I think he's signalling forward pass, but it's certainly
offside.
In fact, given offside.
Yeah, he's indicating offside there. He's saying he's pointing at Greg Austin being offside. I told Greg as he passed it was offside. So I don't know really.
I must admit, I thought he was giving a knock on there, but the ball clearly hitting the player's feet and not hands. Oh, I suppose we allow a referee the odd one in the game. Play some 25 metres out then from the Keighley line as Little gets up, plays the ball on to Johnson. Johnson brings on the substitute to Potter, but he's tackled by Martin Wood and Jason Ramshaw just outside the Keighley 20. On then to Johnson. Not the best of passes, but eventually it was taken. But the weight of the pass, the tackle there by Greg Austin on the centre, David Woods, making him spill the ball. A nice offload there by Ian Gately to Wayne Race, but Wayne not able to make full advantage of it before being tackled as Ramshaw now on to Grimmer. Joe Grimmer gets the ball out to Carlton Farrell. Carlton Farrell tackled well there by David Woods, but still going towards the halfway line. Ramshaw again acting half back onto Andy Ayres. Ayres onto Martin Wood. Martin Wood again skipping and dancing. Gets a nice ball out there to Ayres, but Ayres unable to hang on to it. And certainly, Darrell, Martin Wood made a better impression or a bigger impression on this side since half time when he moved to stand off.
Certainly has, John, yes. We've got to start linking with the backs, getting the ball out to the backs, which is what he's doing. He's doing that now.
And they're involved in the tackling again on the halfway line, on the scrum half of Highfield, Willie Johnson. On that standoff, Gary Forber tackled on that halfway line. And Andy Rippon going in field, looking for a run through, tackled though by Greg Austin, Jason Ramshaw and Phil Stevenson. And the ball out once more to Johnson. Johnson bringing on the substitute there, David Barnett. And Highfield looking for a hole through, making good ground there towards the 20, but it's the last tackle coming up, says Mr. Whitlam. And we're looking for the kick up in the air, the chase, the high ball, into the lights. Wayne Race not taking that cleanly. And I have to wonder there, in fact, whether there may well have been a bit of an infringement in front of the 10 there, Darrell, because certainly when the ball was put up high, there was no way that all those players were behind him, and I don't think he made the ground either.
No way at all, John. Yeah, there were definitely people offside there. Should have been a bit slower, Mr. Whitlam. He should have blown up for that.
I think the point to make is that they shouldn't be inside the 10, isn't it, really, Darrell? And not they shouldn't be inside that 10 and putting pressure on the player. As it was, they were all on top of him when he spilled it.
That's right, John. Yeah, you've got to give the ball 10 metres. In the circle around the ball, it's 10 metres. That's what it's all about. No good saying, well, I'm interfered. If you have interfered, you've gone inside the 10.
Bit of good tackling there by Keighley, because the ball, having been allowed to go out of the tackle, give Highfield an opportunity to score on. There was an opportunity to score there if Willie Johnson had taken the ball. As it was, he didn't take it, and the number 15 Ian Potter knocked it on. Bit of a let off there for the Cougars defence, but it's a scrum down now then on that 10 metre line. Andy Ayres will feed this scrum. Round about 12 minutes of normal time left in this game. The scoreline at the moment very much in Keighley's favour at 32 points to 6 as they come out now from that defensive area up the far touchline side, and Milner taking the ball, breaking the gap, almost breaking the hole there in the defence. Player being injured on the way through, it's Hooker Pemberton as Stevenson manages to get the ball off there to Carlton Farrell, but Carlton left in an absolute no-no position. Managing though even so to hang on to the ball. Ramshaw onto Ayres. Ayres finds Wood. Wood gives the dummy. Martin Wood gets it out now to Pinkney. Pinkney opens his legs, steps outside. Still going is Nick Pinkney. Gets the ball out to Wayne Race, but the referee said it was forward. The referee says the pass was forward.
Forward pass. It is Radio 2.
And so Keighley then denied that try on the far side, and the referee just holding play up while he comes down here to have a look at the injured player. He was injured as the ball went out.
Right, just recovered from that. Once again, don't forget your own bar. You can have your own bar.
Mark Milner it was, who was breaking through the tackles that caused the injury of that Highfield player. Completely accidental. And
it's a good time if you join this bar, I'll tell you. You might even end up as chairman.
Referee happy then that the player's okay to continue, and we move back into the dark patch of the field in that top corner where this scrum will form.
David Brown on, and off comes Tony Pemberton.
David Brown coming back on, didn't even know he'd left the field, and Tony Pemberton comes back on. Must be the other way around, surely. Mark Milner knocks the ball back there. The play having the ball having come out of the scrum for Keighley, unusually so, as the play now moving back across the field. Martin Wood, long ball out to Johnny Walker. Johnny Walker hands off the play, does he? Eventually gets back up to his own feet after being ankle tapped, but keeps the ball alive. Nick Pinkney, Martin Wood, long ball out. Carlton Farrell doing well. Get the ball out, Carlton. Unable to do so. He did very well to take that ball in under the circumstances, but thought the ball may have gone out quickly. Ramshaw now offers the ball to Joe Grimmer, but decides to take it in himself, just inside that Highfield 10 metres. Brendan Hill going on his own again. He's taking them all with him. Barnstorming through there. Brendan Hill wags the finger at the crowd behind the post. That's his second of today.
I want to be a man cub, and so rising to shout, and be just like the other men. I'm tired of walking around, so I want to be like you. I want to walk like you, talk like you. You feel it too, and it's like me.
Brendan Hill.
John Walker then with a chance once more. Again, considerably nearer those uprights for him to add the extras to that. Brendan Hill tries, the ball falls over.
King of the swingers.
Ball then resettled on the mound of sand, and the side foot applied, and the ball through the post.
He's got tiger feet in these old boots there. Johnny Walker.
£38 points to 6 then, the scoreline just updated as Johnson restarts once more for Highfield, and Martin Wood gets the ball onto Phil Stevenson once more. The sub forward there not able to make too many yards forward, but this is Mark Milner making considerably more yardage towards that halfway line, 10 metres short. And Ramshaw gets the ball onto Keighley. Ian Keighley spinning through the first attempted tackle, bursts into the opposition's half of the field, and it's Jason Ramshaw now onto Ayres. Ayres brings on Wood. Wood gets the ball out there, but Pinkney not able to take it. Wayne Race not able to take it. The ball knocked on both ways. We're looking at a scrum forming on the halfway line. Ball down then and out this time to Highfield. Highfield player there with the head guard on. That's centre Mick Carr being tackled just short of the halfway line as David Barnett gets the ball away from the acting half onto Chris Johnson. The fullback gets into the Keighley half of the field, but it's taken 2 or 3 metres back before being allowed to play the ball. And again Highfield away as Johnson, well, Daryl, I've got to say I think that decision's extremely harsh, really.
Yeah, it was a bit harsh, John. once he played the ball, once he kicked the ball there, it was on top of the Keighley players. They had to touch him, you know, and that's what he's given it for. Obstruction, a bit harsh.
Nonetheless, a knock on there by Highfield. This will
Cougars
result.
man of the match there, the Cougars man of the match, sponsored by Wuthering Heights and Roger Ellison, Farm Relief Services, is number 1, Wayne Race. Well done, Wayne boy.
Bit untidy scrum there as Wayne Race announced as the man of the match. Keighley having the ball, Carlton Farrell driving away from that scrummaging area, 10 metres inside his own half of the field as Jason Ramshaw now. Joe Grimmer driving forward, had a good game this afternoon as the Keighley captain. Certainly done plenty of talking and prompting of the rest of his players and led by example. Martin Wood now, again a better game since he went to stand off. Nick Pinkney, the natural centre, threw the ball inside, but it hit a Highfield player on the way through. Interesting to see what sort of a decision the referee gives. Indeed, he does give the scrum to Keighley, having been told by the touchers that the ball hit the head of a Highfield player. At least it looked like the head from here. Pinkney looking to offload infield, and certainly Willie Johnson rather, the scrum half for Highfield, away from that scrum very quickly to catch Andy Ayres in possession. Long ball out to Greg Austin. Austin looked for the hole, looked for the opening, having to cover himself up there as 3 Highfield players do the tackling, but nonetheless still manages to get that ball away as Stevenson bursts into the opposition's half of the field. Nobody supported him there. He was looking left and right for the man coming on as Gately gets the ball from Ramshaw. Back into one-man rugby again at the moment. The player making the breaks, looking for the support. Not been there, but Joe Grimmer's got the support this time. But again, the support overrunning the man with the ball. But Johnny Walker eventually on the end of that ball from Grimmer. The ball hitting a Highfield player on the way through. Mr. Whitlam missed that. It certainly hit the Highfield player's hand on the way through as Andy Ayres gets the ball out now to Brendan Hill. But we don't need the extra 6. Brendan barges off the tackler, gets his hat-trick underneath the post. What a heck of a try that one, Dal, and the audacity of the man to swat the player aside when he was over the try line.
Yes, it was, John. Excellent pass. I missed who passed it out, but it was a beautiful pass. Once Brendan got out of it, it only 10, 15 yards to go. Nobody was going to stop him there. Beautiful.
Well, that hat-trick coming for Brendan Hill on the 38th minute of the second half. Just a couple left of normal running time. Johnny Walker adding the extras.
Whiskey.
9 tries in the match, 7 coming in this second half. Uncharacteristically coming up the hill. 9 tries and 4 goals, giving the scoreline of 44 points to 6.
Tickets are going very quick for the Huddersfield game.
And it's Chris Johnson to restart then, yet again for Highfield. Martin Wood on the end of it, and Phil Stevenson driving the ball away. 20 metres out from his own line, then as Stevenson gets up, plays the ball. Milner once more having to go on his own, not having to, but opting to. The ball spilled, the referee missed it. That ball certainly lost, in fact, regathered by Highfield. Referee Whitlam having to get out of the way there. Pretty smartish as David Woods takes that ball back to the 20 metre line for Highfield. Johnson getting the ball away there to loose forward Dolan. Just confusions a little bit there. He's got a scrum cap on. Certainly didn't start the second half with a scrum cap on, as Johnson now looking for the options. Keighley need to keep this try line intact in this second half, as the ball going out far to the far side as Littler wrapped up there quite comprehensively by Martin Wood. The last tackle comes up for Highfield. Mr. Whitlam got the arm high in the air as Johnson puts the ball forward. Mark Milner manages to hang on to it as it goes into the arms but still can't get away from that 20-metre line, being tackled by the Highfield players. Stevenson driving the ball up 30 metres out, almost 30 metres out. And it's Ramshaw getting the ball away to Ayres. Ayres onto Gately. Gately spins as he gets the ball, seeing the opposition charging down towards him. And tackled, driven back. Still 25 metres from his own try line. Oh dear me, there's got to be a bit of an offside there, but Ramshaw taking full advantage of the Highfield player, but a bad pass out there by Martin Wood, giving Highfield a chance there to get extra points on the scoreline, on the scoreboard. We don't want it now. Keighley certainly don't want it. A minute into injury time, and time's added on for whatever treatment and stoppages by balls falling over, etc. As Highfield inside the 10 metres, getting the ball out to the loose forward. Johnson loses that one. Austin goes for the chase. It's half obstructed. Kicking again. Is he going to win the chase with Rippon? Andy Rippon's pretty fast as this winger. Manages to get there before Austin can get there. The Rippon doing a very good job, in fact, not going for the man, giving himself the chance to go for the chase, and the yardage start on Greg Austin. Managed to get those yards in and managed to help keep Highfield's line secure again for the moment, but security not likely to last much longer, because we're well into injury time now. Almost 2 minutes of extras added by the timekeepers, as Highfield now burst into the Keighley half of the field once more. The scoreline reading at the moment 44 points to 6 to Keighley, as Highfield once more surrender possession. Out then to Walker on this touchline side. Johnny Walker striding through the tackles, doing extremely well. The strength of this winger certainly taking its toll of the Highfield defence on this flank. Austin acting half back onto Wood. Wood gets onto Ramshaw. Ramshaw finds Gately. Gately gets the ball back onto Andy Ayres. Out to the far side. Wayne Race spills the ball in the tackle. Regathered by Highfield. Just remind you, in this game so far, we've had a hat-trick of tries by Brendan Hill in the second half. Another one there by Greg Austin, his 200th of the season. Johnny Walker added one in, as did Phil Stevenson and Wayne Race, and the 2 first half tries coming from John Vasilou and for scrum half Andy Ayres. 3 goals to Johnny Walker, 1 goal to John Vasilou in the first half. That gives the Keighley tally of 44, and the 6 points for Highfield coming from that try just before half time to Andy Rippon, converted by Chris Johnson. Deep into stoppage time now, as Highfield get the ball on the far side of the field, looking to make inroads into this Keighley half, but still entrenched in their own half by a good 8 to 10 metres. Ball out now then as Potter spills it, regathers, a knock on then just inside the Keighley half. Goodness knows how much more stoppage or extra time we're going to have in this game. Now into the 4th minute, and we wait now until the scrum forms just inside that Highfield half. Out very quickly out the back there. Martin Wood taking the ball. The chase is on now as Austin goes for it. And if he'd have had another yard, I'd have backed him all the way for David Woods. As it was, David Woods, the centre, got there first. A good idea by Martin Wood to put the ball through for the chase. And so we've got to drop out from underneath those Highfield posts. I'm wondering just now perhaps whether the timekeeper's watches have stopped. Although there was a fair amount of stoppage time for the young fella who was stretchered off. Johnny Walker taking a good ball there, looks to offload, he can't. The arms of the defenders going round that ball. He was looking to get the ball away to Greg Austin, and really I would have thought that Greg might have helped there. Daryl. There's no way really that Johnny Walker could stay inside the field of play. He wasn't going anywhere, but anyway, it's the final whistle, I think. But I don't think there that perhaps Greg might have just helped, but as it is, 2 points in the bag for Keighley, 44 points to 6 the scoreline. A little bit of a dour first half, but certainly much different second half, Darrell.
Yeah, at least in the second half, Keighley put it together, John. They played the football, they should have played in the first half. And it shows that they can do it. And that's the main thing, is the 2 points in the bag, like you said.
Safe journey home, and
9 tries to 1 and 4 goals to 3 then gives the scoreline 44 points to 6 in this victory here at Cougar Park for Keighley Cougars against Highfield.
Man of the match, Roger at Wuthering Heights, and also Roger Ellison from Farm Relief Services. Thank you very much for that sponsorship. Not forgetting our main sponsors today, Magnet Trade.